Hello, friends. It's me again, Miss Jones. And this week we're going to be focusing on what is the theme. The theme of a story is the underlying message in the story. Many times people confuse the main idea or the summary of a story with the theme of a story or passage. The main idea is a short summary of the events. So, what is the main idea? That's correct. The main idea is a short summary of the events, while the theme is an inference that relates to the underlying message or lesson in a story. The theme is not directly stated in a story. The theme is implied. So I hope that we're able to make that connection concerning inferences that we just talked about last week. So I'm just going to put a speech bubble over here and just going to say my speech bubble. So we know that an inference is not directly stated, but it is implied. Okay, so the reader must think about the characters' experiences and choices to infer the theme of the story. When a reader is attempting to infer the theme, it is helpful to ask. It's helpful to ask, what is the big idea in the story? What larger message is the author trying to convey? And what did the author want the reader to understand? So we have 3 tips to help the reader find a theme. All right, so the big idea, the larger message, and what the author wants the reader to understand. Awesome. Moving on. So now we have a passage, and we're going to make sure that we are using runners with the passage. So make sure that you have your runner's note card with you, your note card, your bookmark, okay? So while we are doing this, I am going to also snot all over this paper. And we know that means small notes on the side. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to underline or circle the title of the text. Let me see here. All right. Max and Kai play ball. Read the following story and answer the questions that follow. So I am going to see if I can just label the text with how many paragraphs there are. So I can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs. All right. And I also know that I need to underline words that I do not know, or a group of words that I'm confused about. Max and Kai were the best of friends. They spent many hours together after school and on the weekends. One of their favorite activities was to play basketball together. Kai had a perfect hoop outside his house on the driveway, so they spent much of their time shooting hoops at Kai's house. So if I want to just summarize this that one passage, I'm going to say that um, they were best friends and they loved basketball. That's what I would put as my snot, as my small note on the side. They were best friends and they loved basketball. Moving on. Where is the basketball? Max asked one day when he was over at Kai's house. There are 2 basketballs in the garage. Let's go, replied Kai. The boys organized a competition. Whoever could make the most baskets out of 10 shots won a round. They used paper to keep track of who won each round and decided the ultimate loser would have to write a love note to Claire, the cutest girl in 5th grade. After they played 6 rounds and were tied in the competition, Kai's mom called them in for dinner. Frustrated that they couldn't continue playing, Kai hurled the ball down the street. It traveled in the gutter over a block away down his steep hill. So, if I'm not familiar with the word gutter, that's something I would underline. And so, if I were to just not, I would say the boys both liked Claire and they love to compete against each other. That's what I would infer from this. That's my snot that I would put on the side. I'll get it later, shouted Kai as he threw his arm up in the air. After dinner, they grabbed the ball from the garbage and continued their competition. They played a few more rounds, knowing that the winner would be determined at the end of their playtime. When Max's mom arrived to pick him up, they were still tied and agreed that they would finish later. They waved goodbye and left the ball on the front yard. So, now I have to do my small notes on the side. I would put they are still very competitive, and they agreed that since they were still tied, they would continue the competition later. Giggling as they gazed at Claire the next day in class, Max and Kai agreed that they would continue their competition to determine a winner. I can't wait to see your love letter, says Kai taunted Max. She's going to fall in love with you after she reads your letter, Max laughed. When they got to Kai's house and started looking for a ball, they couldn't find one. So, again, on my small notes on the side, I would say both boys liked Claire, and they still were going to finish the competition that they had started. But, where is the ball? Back to the story. What happened to the balls? Max inquired. We left one on the front lawn, but I don't see it now, replied Kai. They took a walk down the street to find the ball that had rolled down the street. There was no ball in sight. So over here, for my small notes on the side, I would put, the boys were wondering what happened to the balls, because all of a sudden the one in the front yard was gone and the one that rolled down the street was also gone. How did we lose 2 balls? Kai said, shaking his head. The boys went inside the house to ask Kai's mom if she could go and buy a new ball for them to use. What happened to the balls in the garage? She asked. Well, I think they got lost or stolen or something, Kai mumbled. If you had any money, you could buy another basketball, his mom replied, but I won't be buying a basketball for you. How can we make some money? They asked. So here's where I would stop, and I would put for my snot, my annotation, I would say that the boys wanted the mom to buy a new basketball for them, and the mom said no, but if you have your own money, then you can get your own basketball. Kai and Max spent the next 2 hours raking the lawn and pulling weeds. When it was time for Max to leave, they had only earned $8 of the 24 they needed to buy a new basketball. Instead of playing ball for the next week, they worked in the yard and did chores around the house until they earned enough money to purchase a new ball. So, my small notes on the side would be that the boys really wanted a basketball and they started working. They only earned $8, but they needed 24. And instead of trying to figure out how to play basketball that whole week, they did errands to make money to buy a new ball. Let's talk about the theme. Write a brief summary of Kai and Max play ball. So you're going to be responsible for writing a brief summary about the whole passage. What is one possible theme written as a sentence for this passage? Give me one possible theme. What evidence from Max and Kai play ball supports that theme? So here we are with the word evidence. Evidence that you need to support the theme. And where you're going to find that? You're going to find that in the passage. How can you apply this theme to your own life? So here they're asking us to make a personal connection. How can this story relate to your own personal life?